Head up to the NFL we go, and Shefty, lots of news out there. Let's run the hurry up, starting in Cleveland, which something I wasn't expecting to hear you say.
Why not introduce one more storyline into the Browns quarterback room? And so they opened the practice window yesterday for Deshaun Watson, who's coming off the season-ending Achilles injury last year. It's the first time he's been on the practice field all season long. They felt like they owed it to him for as hard as he's worked to get back out there. We'll see if he can make it back for the start or the end of the regular season. Meanwhile, in Tampa, the Buccaneers opened a practice window on a pair of wide receivers, most notably Mike Evans, but also Jalen McMillan. Evans was a limited participant in practice on Wednesday. You remember he broke his collarbone earlier in the year. Probably still a little bit of time away from being able to play. Keep in mind, after this week, the Buccaneers play the Saints on Sunday. Short week to get ready for the Atlanta Falcons. And then there's a period where Evans might have 10 more days to rest to come back in week 16. Justin Herbert, not practicing yesterday, went to the walkthrough, had surgery on that fractured left hand on Monday. Now, the Chargers continue to insist that he's doing everything he can to be out there, and they're preparing as if Herbert will play on Monday night against the Eagles. But I think there are people around the league who are a little bit skeptical of that, wondering whether he could have surgery on Monday and play a week later, and how much of a risk that might be. Obviously, the Chargers will handle the situation the right way, but there are some conflicting schools of thought, and we'll see what's real. If he can't play, Trey Lance leads the Chargers Monday night.
That's a fascinating one. I mean, obviously, and it's a monster game for both teams. It means everything in the world to the Chargers because they're in the thick of things in the AFC, and then it means everything in the world to the Eagles, who will be playing there. And speaking of fascinating matchups, there was an exchange that we all got a chance to see on that Hard Knocks that I wanted you to hear. It's between Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith. This was after a miscommunication in their game against Chicago. Listen to this.
Hurts, he's lucky, he fires, and it is incomplete. He missed Devontae Smith, who was cutting in, and the ball went to his left.
There's a little signal before the ball is snapped. He's expecting a stop by Devontae Smith. Smitty is running a slant. If he hits Smitty on the slant, he's going to run all the way into the end zone.
What you was thinking? I thought you, when I pointed like this, that's my fault. I thought you was going to settle down some more.
I think that's what we talked about.
It's a play I got to make. Y'all keep doing what y'all doing. Here we go. We'll finish the next one. That's a play I make.
So just so fascinating, I think, for those of us who were never on the field. I mean, of the five of us, I'm the only one who was never on the field. But just to hear that kind of interaction. So let me...
Talking about me, low-key, but go ahead.
There's been so much talk about the Eagles and what's wrong with their offense and all of that as they play a game that, look, I mean, the Cowboys, if the Cowboys win tonight, then there will be an enormous amount of heat on the Eagles to win on Monday night. So if you were to try and pinpoint it, what is wrong with the Philadelphia offense?
It's the worst first down offense in the NFL. And if you're bad on first down, it's almost impossible to make up for it on second and third down. For context, Saquon last year, running the football on first down, he ran for over 1,100 yards on first down last year, 70 yards per game. This year, he's averaging 38 yards running the ball on first down. So you're bad on first down, you're bad on second down, then you're always in third and longs. That's why you have all these 3 and outs. They don't do one thing well offensively. If I had to use the words and give you adjectives to describe this offense over the course of the season: predictable, boring, stale, self-inflicting, uncreative, and not unexplosive.
Outside of that,
but that's the reality. So it's not just one thing. It's not just one person. It's all 11.
So if it's all of that, Taylor, then where are you pointing the finger?
Yeah, I mean, Dan's pointing everything out. And at the end of the day, if you have this many questions, you have an offensive line that are missing blocks consistency. If you're boring, you're stale, you can't get things going with the elite talent that you have, then you have to go look at the top. And the blame has to come on the head coach, Nick Sirianni. You look at the OC. Their OC left, went down to the Saints, and instead of going to find his guy to keep the same kind of weaponry that he does going into the season, he elevated a guy from inside the building. Now, I have immense respect for Nick Sirianni, but at the end of the day, if I'm on this show every single week, and every single week there's a conversation taking place about what's wrong, whether it's A.J. Brown's conversations or a Saquon Saquon Barkley not getting his touches. Then all of a sudden it's like, well, then Nick Sirianni's not addressing this in the room. It obviously has not been addressed there if we are talking about it in week 14.
Do you see it that way?
I played this game, Taylor, and I was just like you 2 years ago and last year, and they went and won the Super Bowl. So I'm saying that to say, they are less than a year away or removed from hoisting the Lombardi Trophy. Yeah, it's tough in that locker room, and that's what happens when you have a bunch of talented people. We call it the Philadelphia egos because stars have egos, so it is hard to manage that. And I would say Nick Sirianni, over the course of his tenure, has done a good job doing that because it's tough. There's a reason why ESPN doesn't have a show with Mike Greenberg, Dan Orlovsky, Stephen A., Pat McAfee, Laura Rutledge, all these big-time people, because it's a tough room to be in if everybody is the star. So the Eagles having won a Super Bowl, you just understand that through the course of the year, those are going to be a part of the ebbs and flows. But if it ends well and the way you play well in the playoffs, it puts you in a position because you're more talented than everybody else.
That's a great point. A year before they won the Super Bowl, they started, 11-2, and they had abysmal
10-1, and fell completely off the cliff.
Yeah.
Two things can be true, right? One is that he's a very good coach, and no one's suggesting his job should be in jeopardy, but that he is at least partially responsible for what's going on here. If the offensive coordinator is the problem, then that might be a bit of his problem. Just let me get Will into the conversation.
Well, yeah, you guys basically covered everything. A couple weeks
ago.
Are
the Eagles going to get run down from behind by the Cowboys? Are they going to fall off that same cliff again?
Dallas Cowboys are coming to take the NFC East. We've been saying it all year. The Philadelphia Eagles have had problems. I haven't been on the show in a couple weeks, but the last 2 weeks they've strung 2 losses together. Bad losses. They're getting figured out more and more, and everybody is to blame in that Eagles organization.
You were there, Dan, Friday, and we talked about it a little bit on Monday. I mean, it felt, just watching it through the TV and hearing the sound, I can't imagine a place where the vibes feel worse than they did that day in Philadelphia. Do you feel like we're seeing the beginning of a real slide?
It feels that way. And being in the building, one giant takeaway was it felt like when they had the football, there was no hope. And everybody knew it. The fans you can hear try, but it felt like the expectation was, here comes another 3-and-out. Here comes another bad series. And I think that's one of the reasons why the defense played that way. It felt like that defense was hanging on, trying to keep that team afloat. Until one thing becomes a strength. Like, I understand your point from last year, but this was a historically great run game last year, and the question was, can the pass game be good enough to win the Super Bowl? Right now we're asking, are they going to be okay enough offensively, even in one element, to win the division? Two very different conversations.
Where they had an enormous lead.
Great point, Dan.
Not so long ago. Look, we'll see. They may get a huge break, if you will. If Justin Herbert doesn't play on Monday night, then that becomes a vastly different game than it would otherwise be.
They got to play better on offense.
Of course they do. Of course they do, but they may not need to score a lot of points to win that game. We'll see. Coming up tonight is the night in the NFL. It's Dallas and Detroit. It's a duet of desperation. We'll tell you why one team has a huge edge as they kick off Week 14 tonight. It's on the way. It's Get Up.